It's about the I got to say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Being able to run as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Here we go. Stop from the gun.
Oh, yeah.
This is BS Sports.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
I hope they're not watching
Today,
this show.
well, yeah, that probably would be bad. If you're a child watching this show, please click
Stop.
off. It's not. I even put in the videos. This is not for children.
No.
Mostly because it's a little. I think it's a little more highbrow. I like to think we're a pretty educational show.
Sure.
You know, you need to know math. You need to know science. You need to know that death and sadness are a reality of life.
Yep.
And suffering.
Especially if you're a Padres fan.
Suffering is just sort of what we do here.
Yeah.
That's a real quote from me. You can quote me on that. Put me on one of those celebrity quote things where it's a picture of the person and then like black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
We got a good show, Seth. We got a good show. The
We do.
Pac-12 decided to die. Not voluntarily, but there was a
dead
man
now.
who came to the door late at night and said, "You're dead." And
Correct.
so that was that.
Yep.
We got some NFL preseason preview, week 1 football. It's already technically back. We had the Hall of Fame game, but it's really back because all the rest of the teams are playing.
I know.
The Chargers, the battle for Los Angeles. We'll talk about it.
Yep.
We got a little baseball to talk about. Tim Anderson decided to lose his mind and display it to all the people on social media to point and laugh at him. And I have a question for Seth about his head coach of his Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, about Mr. Brandon Staley. Is he a big fat phony? We'll find out later in the show.
Who knows?
But we got to talk about the headliner, Seth.
Yep.
So I'm going to pull up the tweet here from Mr. Pete Thamel. I know it's Pete Thamel. I know.
It's
Pete Thamel.
more fun to
Source.
say Thamel.
Big Ten expected to move ahead with formal offer letters for Oregon and Washington. A Big Ten vote is expected to take place after today to formalize their admission, barring any last-minute snags, and there weren't any, to my knowledge.
Correct.
So, the Big Ten continues its West Coast expansion, Seth. Oregon, Washington, Pac-12 down to 4 teams. So it is no longer the Pac-12. It is now the Pac-12. It is not.
It's the Pac-4.
The Pac-4.
It's the 4-pack.
And I'm guessing they're just kind of done. It seems like they're waving the white flag. I don't know
would
if they're going to be
Yeah.
they could go after Mountain West teams. I guess it's like, but this whole thing to me, this is all just total and utter nonsense. This is nonsense. This is not what college football is. My whole thing with college football and the whole sort of appeal of college football is that unlike the NFL, it wasn't like a conglomeration, right? You had all these separate conferences all operating independently of one another and sort of playing different styles of ball. The SEC style of football is different than the Big Ten style of football, which is different than the Pac-12 style of football, which is different than the ACC style, and so on. And it allowed for basically every single part of the country to take part. If you're from Wyoming, you have a college football team. If you're from Idaho, you have a college football team. If you're from Arizona, you have a college football
team. You get a college football team.
Literally,
you get
there
one.
is every small, tiny sliver of a region that you can name. There are, I think it's in the NCAA. I think it's like 130 some college football teams on record. And this whole thing sort of just makes me upset because this is clearly not how this was meant to operate when these things were fashioned. And the regionality to me was the whole appeal of college football. It was like, I don't care about Oregon and Washington. Like, I don't.
Well, we do this year, but.
Well, sure, we play Washington, but like that, it's like that's now a Big Ten matchup. It feels it's like totally it's like it just kind of feels forced to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
the USC UCLA thing was already just like, okay, what are we like? This is just ridiculous. And then they go and they do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Pac-12 existed for like 100 years, and we're just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't really care anymore.
It's fine.
Am I old man yelling at clouds? What am I?
I don't think so. I think it's a little out there as well. But
yeah,
I think, it's just the unfortunate way that it's going, and it's just all about money at this point. Money and TV.
But it's like okay, so there's a lot going on with college football. Obviously. I mean, you have NIL, you have obviously all this conference realignment stuff.
Big changes.
It's like, to me, I told you before the show, I have a solution. I have a plan. So they're going this way where essentially this is kind of like a pro league, right?
Essentially so, yeah.
They're moving away from the, amateur style, whatever you want to call it. Like, they're moving into, this is kind of like, we're going to try to operate as much like a pro league while still trying to maintain some semblance of college. So here's my proposal. So we take, say, a bunch of these teams from like the northern part of the country, right? So you have like, the Big Ten teams, and then I guess some of the Pac-12 teams that we've now added, as well as maybe like, I don't know, name some team up like, I don't know, freaking Yale. I don't know. But take a bunch of any teams that are sort of in the northern area, okay? And obviously the SEC already has like the southern area concept. You have Texas now, Oklahoma. They could take Oklahoma State. They could take.
They're more than likely going to.
Other schools that are still sort of in. Nobody knows where they're going or anything.
Yep.
And sort of they conglomerate and they're down at the bottom. Okay? So what I was suggesting is what we would do is the top one would be its own conference, right?
The Northern Conference.
The Northern Conference. The Northern Football Conference, if you will. Or NFC for short. And then the bottom, we're going to actually call this one the Atlantic Football Conference. Because they have the ocean there. So it's actually AFC for short. And what we're going to do is like they sometimes they'll play each other, week by week. And but by the end, there's going to be a tournament, right? And it's going to be like one side is NFC and one side is AFC, and they're going to each play one another with some sort of seeding. And then at the end, we'll have what's called the National Football Championship, or we can even call it a bowl, like a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
See what I mean? You see what this is? That's just what the like.
Did you get this from somewhere? I've never heard of this.
This is just what this is now. This is just what this is. We talked about this earlier. Do you know how ridiculous I know this is? The Atlantic Coast Conference, ACC, is interested in Stanford and UCal. One problem. They're on the other side of the country.
That is true.
They're not even the name of the conference is entirely based on the fact that they are from the Atlantic Coast. And they're like, you know what? We don't care. Give me UCal. Give me Stanford. Why? Because I want that California money. I want all 13 people who watch Stanford football, and I want them now.
Correct.
I'm so sick of these people. Oh!
Yeah, that's Stephen A. And, the other talk that hasn't, happened yet, the playoff in college football is still 4 teams, but they're talking about making that a 12-team playoff.
Right. Now, here's my thing about this.
Yeah.
Is, again, it's like I support it in so much as that's just sort of the route it has to go. Like, if they're going to do this, if they're going to do a college football playoff to begin with, it seems kind of stupid to just do a 3-game playoff because otherwise, I mean, we see it all the time, every year. If you're not in the college football playoff, your best player, nah, I don't want to play. And, like, no disrespect. I understand. But, like, with all, like, what do I care if I lose a bowl game if my best receiver doesn't want to play or my quarterback doesn't want to play?
Go to the NFL.
And it's like, because he wants to go play in the NFL. And so if you expand it, like, to me, it's ridiculous that the Rose Bowl is not always in the playoff. Like, that to me is ridiculous. This is one of the most storied, historic, like, game that has been played since, before World War II, essentially. Maybe I'm wrong on that history, but essentially, the Rose Bowl is so college football. The fact that there would be players who do not want to compete in the Rose Bowl, to me, is an insult to college football. And so what I thought before they even did it is like, well, why don't you just make it so that all of these all these New Year's Six bowls, Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, all these like classic bowls, Orange Bowl, what have you, you just put them in the college football playoff. And then, you're going to still have these great games, but now every player is going to want to play because, like, look, I mean, could some of these teams have beaten, say, Georgia last year? I don't know. Probably not. Georgia won 152-3 against TCU.
Yeah.
And that's another problem. Like, college football is so competitively unbalanced. Like, Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, they're competing for the same national championship as Georgia. You might as well just die. Just give up. Because you're never going to win a national championship. A lot of great athletes have come out of Eastern Michigan. Well, you're never going to win a national championship playing for Eastern Michigan. And a lot of players recognize that, which is why you have the transfer portal now, where you have players who will leave, say, Georgia Tech or I don't know, like Michigan State even, and they'll go play for a program that is light years ahead, either in market or in they're just already, like, wherever they are in the progress of their rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's like, I understand why they're doing it, but this is not the NFL, or at least it shouldn't be. Like, the point of it is that you are playing for the school, right? You're not playing so much just like to maximize your franchise value, even though you end up doing that. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's like, if they're going to be doing this where essentially we're going to treat it like the pros, well, then we just got to pay them like the pros, I guess. Like, everybody's got to get a contract. And I know they don't, like, not everybody would want that, because that would mean you'd have to divvy up these giant NIL deals. Like, it's no longer Bryce Young making $1 quadrillion alone. Meanwhile, the punter is just like, hold on, I don't think my payroll came in. Anyone? Hello?
That's weird.
Hello? It's like the guy in Office Space who they just take him off the payroll, but he's still working in the office.
Yeah.
Hello? Hey, I don't think I okay. All right. Great.
All right.
And it's like, I don't see how you get out of it, because at some point, some player, some backup, some O-lineman who doesn't get recognized, who doesn't, like, he's going to get hurt or something. Or he's going to get hurt. He's just going to be like, oh, like, how is it fair that my quarterback, even if he sucks, like, what's his name? The guy who transferred to South Carolina. He was from Oklahoma originally. I don't even remember his name. Spencer something?
Spencer Rattler. It's like, this guy just sucks, right? But he got a bunch of money. And he got a bunch of money for nothing, essentially. And meanwhile, I mean, like, if I'm his O-lineman, or if I'm his, like, I don't know, insert random backup, whatever. It's like, well, I'm playing about as well as he is. Like, why is he getting all this money? Then there's feuds there, and there's all that. So I don't know. It's
and then he can just leave. Like, it's just like,
yeah.
This is not what college football is about. I mean, you look at basketball, even, like, with the one and dones, where guys will just go in their freshman year and they can suck. They can be, like, basically nothing. Max Christie, he went to MSU. He sucked, but he got drafted.
And he's on the Lakers.
And now he's on the Lakers. And, like, it's like, how are you supposed to build a team that way? Like, the whole system was sort of designed where it's like high school. I mean, but at a higher level, obviously. I don't know. I'm just an old man, I guess. A lot of people, it's like, we just, I'm like Lou Holtz right now. Lou, he's coming from all over.
There was 2 Lou Holtz right there. That was awesome. Great minds think alike right there.
I was.
I don't know.
I don't know how we
mean,
timed that so perfectly.
I don't know either. But yeah, I don't know. It's ridiculous, but I just think unfortunately it's a reality that we kind of have to just face.
Yeah.
This is where college football is going, and whether you like it or not, people really like money, and that's what they're gonna keep
This
doing.
is bad. This is very,
Stephen
very
A.
bad.
I mean, I agree with Stephen A. there.
See, here's my thing too. Is I think a lot of people, like, if you point out, like, say, because Washington playing Washington State,
Yes.
I don't care about Washington State. I don't care about Washington. I don't care about Washington State playing Washington State.
It's a
I will
rivalry game.
probably never watch that game.
Probably
I don't
not.
think I've ever seen. You couldn't tell, but that's not the point. I'm not going to watch the game.
Correct.
But I imagine a lot of people in Washington probably watch the game.
As it is a
Or
rivalry game.
UCLA, USC. That's
Correct.
a rivalry, right? I mean, you're
Very
from
big rivalry.
California. Like,
Mhm.
you probably know much more about that than me. You probably know people who are like big UCLA, USC fans. That
Mhm.
it's as hyped up. Like, they probably feel the same way about Michigan State that
Correct.
I feel about USC, UCLA. Like,
Yeah.
and you're just sort of, I mean, I guess in that case, they're both coming to the Big Ten, so you're still going to have that. But USC Notre Dame, I don't really care about that game. Like,
No.
but USC fans definitely care about that game. That's a
Mhm.
big rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
and essentially what we're saying is, that rivalry's big and all, but we don't really care. And
Nah.
also we get a lot of money. So,
It's
whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, okay, how many more big rivalries are we willing to just get
Kinda
rid
just-
of for more money?
Yeah, I was gonna say like throw away. Yeah.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. It's like, people think it's not, it'll go for those rivalries I don't care about, but it'll never come for my rivalries. And I think
No.
Washington State probably thought that way. I think USC Notre Dame probably thought that way. I think UCLA USC, well, again, maybe that one sticks, but
But
like, they probably think that way. Like, how do we know that MSU Michigan is going to play every year? How do we
Yeah.
know that U of M is going to play Ohio State every year? What, like, I mean, like, it's so, like, short-sighted, I think, and a little naive to just say,
well, to me, they have
whatever.
to keep the rivalry games. Like to me, they do.
That is
but-
that's the best part of college football is the rivalry games. Rivalry
Which I mean, I
weekend
think they have to keep it, right?
Well,
There's no way they don't. That's just me.
I mean, like, they would have to keep something, but
Yeah.
their argument is going, like, if, say, a rivalry becomes, uncompetitive, I guess.
Mhm.
If you, like, how many times has Alabama beaten Auburn in a row at this point? Like 8 times. Like, since Cam
something-
Newton left, essentially, they've just been pillaging them.
For
Like,
the most part.
at a certain point, they might just be like, well, we actually make more money when Alabama plays
Tennessee.
Michigan or Tennessee
Michigan.
or Ohio State.
Mhm.
So instead of playing a rivalry that's in-state, that has a lot of history, that fans are juiced up about, we're going to go ahead and maximize our economic benefit. We're going to go ahead and maximize what our advertisers want us to see, and we'll be
Yep.
able to hit multiple markets. Because, up here,
Mhm.
again, Alabama-Auburn, a fine rivalry, great history. I really
it's a
don't
cool
care.
game.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not like losing it over the result.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Like, but a lot, like, it's like these sorts of things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State goes the way of Michigan, Minnesota. Like, that was a the big jug or whatever it was called. I don't remember what the name of it was. But, like, that was another one that's like, well, that'll never go away until it did. Or Michigan,
Until
Notre Dame. They used to
Mhm.
always play every year. And now I think they haven't played since 2019. And that to me is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the direction everything is going. It's just like we're just
Yeah.
moving towards
It's
money and eliminating any level of tradition. And that,
We'll
to me,
see.
it's just, you're just hollowing out the product.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with that. But I would like to think that, the people, even though they like money, I would hope that they're in their right mind and know that the fans want to see the game every year.
Mm.
People in Michigan want to see Michigan, like,
Yeah.
to some extent, they have to know that fans are like the driving force of what gives them their money.
Yeah.
So, like, I would hope that they think something, especially like the game, that is like a national thing. I know that that's like a national thing that people watch.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, some of these other rivalry games, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
My
We'll
only-
see.
my
It's
only
kind of just waiting
counter-
and seeing.
My only counter is look at all the games they're putting on these streaming services. I mean, a lot
It's
of
true.
people don't want to buy Peacock, but
Yeah.
a lot of people probably going to have to buy Peacock, or they're going to have to go to the old, 7 Cs if you catch my drift here.
Well, you know.
Like,
Yeah.
to me, it's like,
We'll see.
or even just like MSU is playing Penn State in Ford Field this year, Seth.
I know.
I don't know that they really care about
That's-
the
Yeah.
tradition or the college environment, and also
That's a good
on top of it,
point.
they're playing that game on Peacock. They're playing it. It's like we're gonna
Mhm.
they're like up next, the national championship brought to you by AMC Plus,
Oh.
which
And
is
it's
a
just in
real
a movie
streaming
theater.
services. By the way, that is a real streaming service. AMC,
Interesting.
the Breaking Bad channel. They have a
Yeah,
streaming
the Breaking Bad
service.
channel.
I don't.
Next, it's
In
in a
my
movie theater.
why does that exist?
I don't know.
Okay. College football playoff brought to you by Tubi. That one's free. You can just get
That is true.
Oh man, Torkelson
But
just got
anyway.
robbed of a line drive. Well, yeah. So college
We'll see.
football is just. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're less than a month away from.
Mhm. We're like
opening
3 weeks
night.
away. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually crazy. We are 1, 2, 3 Fridays. Well, unless you count the Friday of the game, we're 3 Fridays away
Mhm.
from Michigan State football being back.
Yep.
Friday Night Lights.
I'll be there.
CMU, MSU, Spartan Stadium, FS1. I really hope we don't get Gus Johnson because I just can't stand Gus Johnson.
Interesting take.
You don't like Gus? You like Gus Johnson?
Yeah, I don't mind him.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
How could I allow this to happen?
I don't know.
He's just Gus Johnson.
I know.
I don't.
That's why I don't mind him. He's Gus Johnson.
This is terrifying development. I gotta say. This is
Well,
horrifying. We need to get away. We need to run.
Okay.
Speaking of running, we want to talk. Oh, let's get to the baseball. Let's do the baseball because there's not too much to talk about. So the first things first, I have to acknowledge the unfortunate death of Jim Price, who was World Series champion with the Tigers in 1968, was a color commentator of the radio games for 31 seasons, worked with Ernie Harwell, and then worked with Dan Dickerson, the current play-by-play. Guy was born in 1941. He was born before the end of World War II.
That's pretty crazy.
He wasn't a great player, but he spent all of his years at Detroit. He played I believe, 5 seasons. Was a catcher. Well, again, he wasn't that great of a player, but as a commentator, he was outstanding. I mean, he was really, really good. His later years, you kind of got the idea that he was, not well. He wasn't traveling as much. So
all the above.
Yeah, I mean, like standard stuff that you see when commentators, particularly color commentators, once they get kind of older, they just they can't travel as much. It's too much stress. It's too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
But he was a guy who basically ever since after he retired from playing for the Tigers, he was immediately pretty much working with them in the broadcasting. So a lot of dedication. And I mean, if you can just look up like best Tiger radio calls or something, you'll probably hear his voice. He was a legend in Detroit, and we're sorry to see him go. So we're hoping that Jimmy is having some batting practice with old Al Kaline in the afterlife. So
of course,
that was his teammate, which is
pretty
crazy to think about because Al Kaline to me is like ancient, and Jim Price was alive. So yeah. So I wanted to acknowledge that. Very sad day. On top of that, the Tigers are continuing to have sad days generally. Last week they split with the Pirates. Thanks to an Eduardo Rodriguez game 2 solid showing after all the trade deadline drama.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
And then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Rays. I believe they gave up a combined 116 runs or something like that.
Hmm.
They lost the first game, I believe it was 8-0.
Oh.
They won the second game, so you're like, oh, maybe we can still. No.
Hmm.
Then they got blown out. A classic Sunday afternoon bloodbath where the game was pretty much over within the first few innings.
Nice.
And so then last night they got blown out by the Twins, and right now they're surprisingly winning the game. And I think if they're going to win the game today, it will be because of Jim Price. And
Well, yes,
because we know the Tigers don't win on Tuesdays.
that is true.
But my team's out of the playoff race, and I'm basically just following them to make sure that everybody is having a good time. Seth, what happened this week with the Padres?
Well, you see, we had a chance to be 500.
Oh, a chance?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
A chance.
Come on, Daddy.
Give it to me. Come on.
And then we played the Dodgers.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
What happened? What
Well,
happened? What occurred?
We won one game out of the 4.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, we're back down to 3 games out of 500, and I'm pretty sure we're 3 games out of the wild card spot.
I believe either 3 or 4.
4, something like that. Anyway,
Which is not out of. You're not out of it, and I think
Okay.
that's what's so
here's the thing,
sad.
though. This is a stat that I've brought up before on the show. I've brought up when we're not on the show. The Padres have not won more than 3 games in a row this entire season. Again, you might be asking yourself,
How is that possible?
how is this possible? We've played over 100 games. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
That's got to be one of the most. I don't know if to
Terrifying
call it underrated
stats ever.
Like I mean, like it's one of those stats that I don't think gets enough traction in like MLB circle. Like that is unbelievable. Like
pretty insane.
I'm pretty sure the A's have had longer win streaks. The Royals have had longer win streaks. Like
So
the
basically,
fact, like I mean, I suppose to give the Padres credit, they're somehow not like 10 games under 500.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, if you want to make the wild card, I don't know that it is possible to not win 3 games. I mean, you're 4 games out. You kind of have to win at least 4 games in a row to overturn that gap.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have the Mariners tonight. Mariners are probably in a similar camp as you. So
well,
they're
no,
not.
they're 16-52.
Well, I'm saying like they're out of the wild card, I believe. I believe.
Ish.
Like I think they're fighting for a wild card spot. You're fight like overall records. Forget about it. I think they're in a similar situation. You know what? Let me check the standings. We're checking the standings.
We're gonna both do it.
We'll see who can do it faster. I'm on my cellular telephone. I'm using the MLB app. Not sponsored. MLB, call me up.
Well,
Let's see. Open up the standings.
Well,
wild card.
You might be right, Mike.
They are 3 games out.
3 games
of the wild card, which is less than the Padres, but still out. Doesn't matter how many games you're out.
That is
you're
true.
Either in or you're out.
Correct.
And looking at the Padres, okay, this is unbelievable. Okay, ahead of them is the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, and the Cubs. Now, the Cubs, we can ignore them because they've only lost 1 in a row, so they're not, they're where they are.
Yes.
The Diamondbacks, on the other hand, have lost 6 straight.
Correct.
The Marlins have lost 5 straight. Both these teams are stumbling out the gate. Both of them are potentially going to fall below 500. With the Padres, I mean, you have a route to get there. The Cubs, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think the Cubs are going to make it either way, but there is a path, given that the other teams ahead of you are falling apart.
But here's the funny thing. 55-58. We win a game. We win a game. We lose a game. We win 2 games. Ooh, we lose a game. It's been a flip-flop this entire season. I couldn't tell you why. but that's just how it's been.
Yeah.
And if we somehow get into a wild card spot, I mean, hey, I'll thank the Lord above. But I would almost just not assume much from that, and then just chalk it up. Let's run it up next season. Let's run it back.
I got a question because
I probably don't have an answer.
well, it's more about how you would feel. Would you feel better
Mm-hmm.
if you don't make the wild card,
Yep.
or you make the wild card but you don't win a single game, like you just get swept? Like, I don't know if emotionally it would be that much better because at that you get swept, you
probably
basically
not.
didn't make it,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I mean, it's more difficult for me because I'm sitting on a 7-8 year playoff drought.
Well,
I would give up unholy amounts of I would go personally and decapitate Miguel Cabrera right now. That was a joke.
Mhm.
For a
In
playoff
game.
spot
Yeah.
in Minecraft.
Yeah.
But you were just in the NLCS, so it's
Correct.
like, okay, if you don't make the playoffs one year, okay, well, whatever. We'll just go next year. Hey, Miggy just hit a single, so that's
Nice
good.
job,
right
Miggy.
on cue. So I guess it's like,
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't know. What do you
It's a
think?
tough answer. Like, at this point, we're just underperforming on the year as it is, so it doesn't really, like, I don't think I have a preference, to be quite honest with you.
Hey, he's matched Tony Gwynn. Total home runs, total hits. 3,141.
Well,
Change the
Mr.
number,
Gwynn.
lady. You gotta lift it. You lift the number. Everyone's looking. Lift the number. Okay, she missed it. She didn't realize. That's like the second time that's happened.
Tony Gwynn's very disappointed up in heaven.
That's true.
He's looking down right now.
Is he dead?
He's like, yes.
Oh. When did he die?
And now he's dead.
Is he? He's a Padre.
He was. Yeah, that's why I'm quite familiar
He
with
died
Mr. Gwynn.
over a decade ago.
Yes.
So, do you think if maybe you got Tony Gwynn, like right now, like if you resurrected him somehow?
Are you talking about prime Tony Gwynn or the age that he is right now if he was still alive?
Probably.
Because here's the thing.
Prime Tony Gwynn is anywhere between 1984 to 2000 ish.
So here's the thing.
Honestly, he was really good even his final year.
Yeah, I would take either of them.
His final year, he batted 324. Guy was 41 years old, casually having one of a top 845. Wow. He never had a season where he was below 100 OPS. Plus, I should say. Not. I mean, obviously, he should have. He should have over 100 OPS. OPS plus. I mean, that is amazing.
Yep. He was a pretty damn good baseball player.
Yeah, he was. You were not alive, I don't think. When were you born?
2003.
Yeah, you were not alive when he played.
Correct.
That is, I mean, I was only alive for 3 years, but that's neither here nor there.
But
actually, technically, I wouldn't have been whatever. We can talk about Tony Gwynn later.
I get the point, but I would take both versions of him. I would take his age right now, or
dead Tony Gwynn,
or prime Tony Gwynn,
or prime Tony Gwynn,
because maybe that helps.
That might give you a boost in morale.
Maybe.
I think you guys need that.
Something like that.
That would definitely help things, right?
I would hope, but
look, okay.
Who knows?
Again, I've talked about the Padres. I think that they're actually a good team, but they need to gel. Right? Maybe you need a new manager. I don't know what's the manager situation like, Seth?
That's a great question. I have no idea because again, I don't know these things. I literally do not have a reason why it is going this way this season. I could not tell you. Maybe it's because I'm not like Padres diehard or something. I don't know. Maybe they have the secrets and I don't.
They could. They might have the secret sauce.
Maybe. They
now,
just have.
Here's the thing, right? What if the Padres moved to LA?
Absolutely not.
That would be 3 LA teams with only one of them playing. Right now, only one of them plays in LA.
Yeah.
Anaheim is relatively close to LA, but still
it's close enough,
LA.
But it's not LA.
Disneyland is not in LA.
If the Padres move to LA and there are no teams in San Diego, I would probably
Hey, you have the minor league affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks.
That is true. We do have the San Diego
You got
Gulls.
some solid AHL hockey.
That is true. But here's the thing.
You have
If
San
that
Diego.
happens-
Hey, San Diego State just made the Final Four. I don't
That
want
is
to hear
true.
any complaints.
But I'm talking
When's
about
the last
professional
time-
sports teams.
When was the last time that a team from Detroit did anything?
Good question.
2008, actually. That
Yeah.
was the last time we won a championship.
That was a little while ago.
It's slightly
But
time ago.
Anyway, yeah. So if that happens, I would probably off myself. And if they think that's the way to do it, no. But anyway,
I might kill myself.
Yeah.
That man is very loud.
Yeah.
You didn't need to yell.
but anyway.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's MLB.
but in the baseball world, though,
Oh
we
yes.
do
I
have a
forgot.
story.
How could I
do
forget
have-
this?
So I don't know if you kept up with this, but a little AL Central bout.
Boom. Boom. boom,
I got the headline here.
Sorry.
White Sox's Tim Anderson posts cryptic tweets after Jose Ramirez fight. So I know you don't watch a
Are you
whole lot
talking
of
about-
AL Central.
Well, are you talking about
baseball.
this tweet?
That's right. That's the one where
Yeah.
he's ready to fight.
Mhm.
I know you don't watch a whole lot of AL Central baseball because
I
you
don't.
have self-respect.
That's
um,
well, you know.
But so Jose Ramirez, I'm sure you've heard the name. Very
I
good
have.
player. Very,
Yes.
very good player. Having another great year. Generally speaking, not a person that gets into a lot of quarrels, not a person who is, saying stupid things or just generally being a cancer.
Yeah.
Everybody likes J-Ram. I don't like the Guardians/Indians. I don't like that Cleveland team. And
But-
even I kind of like J-Ram because he's a great player and
Yep.
he's good for the game of baseball.
But
But Tim Anderson,
mhm.
on the other hand,
That's a different story.
I hate Tim Anderson. This guy is a total clown. This guy is constantly looking for trouble, and usually he finds it. Now, a lesser known, this is all background before we get into the fight and before we get into his, anime villain character arc. Like, this was like a few years ago. I believe it was Tim Anderson. I could be totally wrong and just slandering him, but even if I am slandering him,
Who
I don't
cares?
even care
Yep.
because it's Tim Anderson and he's a loser.
In game, of course.
It was like, I believe it was 2 years ago. Tigers, White Sox in Comerica Park. It was like near the end of the year. It was like September or like late August. It was like our season had already been over.
Mhm.
They were already going to win the Central. It was done. There was
Yep.
no reason for anything like that.
Whatever.
He slides into, at the time, our shortstop, Nico Goodrum, on
Yep.
like a, he's running to second base and we're trying to turn it over play. He slides into him and Nico Goodrum falls down. And there's a little quarrel. Bench is clear, all this stuff. And from
Yes.
that moment, I was like, oh, this guy's a punk. This guy wants smoke with Nico Goodrum. Nico
Yeah.
Goodrum is nobody. I mean, like clearly he was
Yeah.
on top of the world. I'm the best player ever. I'm an elite shortstop. I'm Tim Anderson. Let me
Mhm.
pull up Mr. Anderson's numbers this year
Mr.
because I
Anderson.
predicted this team, this White Sox team, being a total paper tiger. I predicted this 2 years, like after 2021, after they got knocked out of the playoffs by an actual team in the Houston Astros. I knew this team, the White Sox, they were total phonies. So Tim Anderson, he is batting .242 with, and I kid you not, 19 RBIs. 19 RBIs. He has a 60 OPS plus with 100 being average. A 575 OPS. His slugging percentage is .290. He has 86 hits on 355 at bats. Do you know how many home runs Tim Anderson has hit? I want you to start counting, and I'll tell you when.
1.
That's it. That's how many home runs he has. And actually, he just got it recently.
Oh.
So he decided he wanted to be an instigator, essentially. So what happens is, I'm sure everybody's seen the clip, but I'll sort of narrate the play in true, BS sports. We're gonna create recreate.
We're gonna paint you a picture.
Paint you a picture of what happened. So
Yep.
Jose Ramirez hits ground ball, line drive into right. It's fair ball. It's like down the first base line. He's running. He's heading for 2. Tim Anderson, of course, shortstop. So he slides in. Throw to the play is not in time. Tim Anderson keeps the tag on. Now, I'm fine with him keeping the tag on. But the thing was, he was sort of here. Let me.
Oh, see, now we're getting a visual.
I have legs, believe it or not.
Oh,
My legs. Okay, so he's like, so Jose Ramirez sliding in between his legs. He's applying the tag. So Jose Ramirez is like below this area. So he's just basically on top of him, essentially. Yes. And he's clearly safe. He's on the bag. There's no chance he's not safe. And he doesn't move. And Jose Ramirez is like, dude, get off of me. Stop, get the tag off. Let me get up so I can, stand up.
So I can,
like it wasn't a thing where it was like, sliding guy and he's sort of to the side and he's keeping the tag on. Because then you can still get up. Like you're not, there's no damage there. It's like he was clearly on top of him. You're not moving. Like, I don't want you to move because I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you dress.
Yeah. Well, something like that. Yeah.
And a lot of things go down and he decides he wants to start fighting. We're not going to show the clip because I don't have the clip on me, but you can find the clip. Basically, he got knocked on his ass. Like he kind of, stupid idea for big lanky shortstop to go up against power hitting third baseman. Very stupid idea. Like you're asking for a fight. He misses like 2 or 3 punches, and then J-Ram just like he didn't like fist him, but he like clubbed him essentially, and he just fell down. He was done. And brawl happens, and all those things happen. And all that happens. I'm sure everyone's heard of this, but all this happens, and then the story doesn't end. And then he decides to go on a website you may have heard of. It's called Twitter. And
X now, but
X, whatever. I don't know. He goes on X, Twitter, and he tweets. And I will censor these because this is a family show. We'll censor these with some of our favorite drops and sound bites that we have here. So I'm going to read these aloud for the class, and we're going to. I'm going to establish because they pretty much happen like within minutes of one another. So here we go. And hold on, we might need some dramatic music for this. Hold on.
That might be a good idea.
Let me see if I can get.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna stand there for the entire time you're reading and go like this.
Hold on. Is this a good? No, we need something like a little intense.
It's a little melancholy.
What is acoustic cinema or cinematic? Ooh, this is like a little mysterious. What about Into Space? We're experimenting here, people. These are not great choices.
Nope.
Night Driving.
This is actually good music for this.
Honestly, I feel like we could do this. We can make this work.
I say just go for it.
We're gonna go for this. So, all right. And here, and I quote: "This is very dramatic. This is a very serious show." At Tim Anderson 7, 13 minutes ago.
Yep.
All this happened for a reason. Ellipses. We stay in focus with this.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
You can use your imagination what word he used.
Yep.
That was 10 minutes, so 3 minutes have passed between those two. Now 9 minutes. Been going through this.
Loser! You're a loser!
For a min. Ellipses. Now, of course, min short for minute.
Oh.
So, yeah. 7 minutes. So now 2 minutes have passed since that last one. We ain't never tripping. This.
Hey.
Bigger. We gonna catch up with them later. 6 minutes.
It never ends.
Keep kicking on me while I'm down. 5 minutes.
I'm gonna keep doing it. I gotta keep doing it.
A lot of MF. Been switching up too. Hashtag fake.
Come on, Daddy.
Tim, Bubby, I mean, what are we doing? what is this? What is this like? Why are you? All right, that's enough of the music. Tim, Bubby, what is that? What am I to take from this?
You're to take the response by Jose Ramirez going like this.
I mean, like, honestly, like what is that? What is that? Any of that mean?
I think, there's a lot of talk about CTE in the NFL. I think there needs to be some talk about that in the MLB.
I don't know if he's got CTE. I think he might just be stupid.
Or both.
Like, sometimes you're just born that way. Sometimes we're born with CTE. It's called being a moron.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The whole thing is really stupid. And then when they handed out the suspensions, I was thinking like, huh?
I mean, like, he got 6 games, which is like probably less than I would think.
I thought it was going to be more, personally.
I thought it would have been a little bit more, but I guess they figure, he didn't really hit him. So they're probably
It's
thinking,
true. He's the one who got
started
knocked
a
out.
fight and he ended up, it's like that graph, the F around and find out graph. See, he kept effing around and inevitably, of course,
he did find out.
Found out. So,
Courtesy of Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, and it's just like, to me, it's like you could have, like, if he was going to get suspended longer, it would have been like if he actually could have hurt J-Ram, but clearly he did not hurt J-Ram. And that's why J-Ram also got suspended, because I mean,
because
J-Ram finished the fight, which I mean you should walk away.
But
he didn't, and mistakes were made. But as far as I'm concerned, look, this is another thing. Like, there was some instance where somebody, some player had made fun of him, like calling him Jackie Robinson.
Oh.
And people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is horribly racist. How could you call this African American gentleman Jackie Robinson?" Well, it turns out he had called himself Jackie Robinson.
Oh, nice.
He had compared himself to Jackie Robinson in some past interviews, and then some player making fun of him, because that is a ridiculous statement to make, especially when you've made 0 World Series, you've won 0 championships, and you haven't done anything since 2 years ago at this point. I'm sorry, he made the All-Star game last year. Fantastic, great.
But here's the thing,
how did your team do? Hold on, let me tell you. That's how they did.
Oh.
So yeah, Tim
I'm
Anderson
just saying,
to me.
We can have a discussion about CTE in the MLB. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm sure there's probably some CTE, right?
I'm sure.
If somebody gets hit in the head with a baseball, it's possible.
It's not as bad as
There's
Antonio
concussion.
Brown, but it's
Right. See, I don't know, I guess to have a slight deviation on the CTE discussion, the Antonio Brown thing, to me, it's like, I feel like a lot of times when I hear that, it's like people saying, "Oh, well, I know that he does all these terrible, awful, selfish things, and he treats people like dirt, and he's horribly disrespectful, but you have to understand, did you see that hit that he took against the Bengals that one game, several years?" It's like, we don't even know if he could just be a terrible person.
That's true.
We won't know until he's dead, which, God willing, it's not, for another 50 or 60 years. I don't know how old he is. He's his late 20s, right? He's early 30s. Yeah, so 50, 60 years. He's probably. I mean, the more the merrier. I don't want Antonio Brown to die unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And I hope that he finds the right people, because he could.
We'll see.
Bad things happen when you're a cancer. He bought a arena league team and basically ran them into the ground.
Yep, heard about that.
That was the Albany Argonauts or something like that.
Something. Yeah, it was something ridiculous. But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
But hey, Antonio Brown's a good segue.
Yes, speaking of Antonio Brown, Seth, there was football this past week.
There was, yeah.
The Hall of Fame game
featured
such amazing action as Zach Wilson throwing but one deep ball.
Indeed.
And the lights going out.
Yes.
And I have a question about the Hall of Fame game. And it's not, did you watch it? But how what level of king do you have to be as a sports league where everybody knows the game is pointless? Everybody
Correct.
knows the game is terrible.
Yes.
Every single year, people come away from the game and they're like, wow, that game was awful. And yet, every year, millions of people will watch.
Will watch it.
Like it was like I think the ratings were like 5 million people or something. It was like, that is like how, and I was one of them.
Well, yeah.
And so I guess my question is like, is there any other league that can do that like the NFL? I don't think there is. Like,
Probably not.
nobody would tune into like a live broadcast like spring training game for baseball.
No.
Nobody. I mean,
Not that many
practically,
people.
like not that many people tune in for summer league games, and those games are nationally broadcasted. I don't even think people are aware that the hockey NHL has a preseason. This is news to people.
Yeah.
And technically, even the NBA has a preseason. This is also news to people. I don't know why. They play 82 games. I figure you get warmed up after game 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I just it's an interesting thing. I don't really
incredible.
care that much about the results. It was kind of interesting seeing some of these players that obviously are not going to make starting rosters. And you usually see why. You see why Kellen Moore is not a quarterback that plays starting for any team ever.
Yeah.
Actually, he did start at some point, didn't he?
I don't know. Maybe.
He had to, right? I guess he doesn't have to. Kellen, it's not Kellen Moore. It's Kellen Mond. That's how.
Mond,
that's how
I don't
down
really
bad-
care because it's just
Did he ever start? He did not. He played one game last year
nuts.
with Minnesota. Actually, I'm sorry, not last year. 2 years ago. He was He didn't even play. He didn't get one game. He didn't get to go in victory formation.
Nope.
He was 2 for 3
Yeah.
for 5 yards.
Hey.
That's amazing.
Blame it on play calls.
Well, he's a preseason legend in my book.
Yep.
Blame it on play calls. Other news around the NFL. Mr. Alvin Kamara.
Correct.
Alvin Kamara. He is gonna get suspended for 3 games. Because he beat up a guy in Vegas.
Yes.
And
More
I wanted
fighting.
to just sort of point out that I believe it was a Cowboys player. He also got suspended for 2 games for PEDs, steroids. And both of these individuals are being suspended for more games than Jamison Williams, who got suspended for breaking a rule that apparently nobody understood and also was gambling on college and also was apparently in a team hotel, which counts as, the use of the, like, you can't gamble on whatever.
Yeah.
So you cheat.
Well,
That's 2 games. You commit a crime.
that's
3 games.
That's fine.
You gamble in other leagues when you're in your hotel room by yourself with your own money. Well, we're gonna have to take you out for 6 games. I mean, that's not negotiable at that point.
You can't do that.
So, I don't really. I mean, in Kamara's case, apparently he went to Roger Goodell and he begged him. He got on his knees and he begged. He said, Raj, please, I just need to play more than however many more than 14 games. Please, just don't let me get suspended for more than 3 games. And Roger was like, all right.
And
yeah,
Roger's
sure,
like,
fine."
yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, what do you think of this whole situation? I mean, you don't have any suspended players on your team. You guys are a class act.
Well, until we all get injured. Yeah, I don't know. It's another thing. It seems like, a lot of things that come up in the sports world are things I typically find ridiculous, and this is another one. I don't know. I don't really have a horse in this race. It's Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
You don't get him for the first
Jamal
3
Williams
weeks
is
of
gonna
fantasy.
get a whole lot more carries.
That's true.
Speaking of fantasy, I got Justin Herbert as my fantasy quarterback.
Very nice.
Yeah. So hopefully he doesn't die.
He shouldn't.
I'm really looking forward to your O-line.
Well, if you said that as long as our O-line doesn't die, I would say, well, yeah, because it
Okay.
happens every single year.
Look,
but
he can
anyway,
play
side note.
well. He can play well every single game.
Yep.
Except for when he plays the Lions, in which case he can play well. He just has to lose, which
Okay.
he actually is pretty good at that.
Oh my God!
Speaking of playing well and losing,
Oh, now we're gonna get into this one, aren't we?
we're gonna talk about yeah, we'll get into this. So
I think it's a good segue
I have a
after
quote for
that
you, Seth.
uncalled for comment.
I have a quote for you, Seth.
Yep.
From some NFL executive who is unnamed.
Oh.
This is a tweet from JPA Football at JRIS Football on X now, I guess is its name.
Yep.
And I quote:
Ooh.
An NFL executive calls head coach Brandon Staley, quote, a really bad coach with a great roster, via at Matt Lombardo NFL. Quote, they just paid that QB, and if they don't win now, Herbert isn't getting any younger. If Jerry Jones had Herbert, that head coach would have been fired 2 years ago. Seth, we go to you for your live reaction.
Well.
Ow! Ow!
Yeah, pretty
Sorry,
much. Yeah, I don't think he's that bad. I wouldn't say he's good.
Right.
I don't think he's as bad as that comment was, although it could be true.
Right.
He has made some very interesting decisions in games. A couple of them in recent memory. Some of them aren't as well known, but yeah,
There's only so many people watching Chargers games.
well, take a look at SoFi behind me.
There's tens of people there. So.
Yes. So
this is not a preseason game, by the way. At least I don't think it is. I don't know.
who knows?
I got it on Google. Continue.
Yeah, I think I agree and disagree with that comment at the same time. Because, like I said,
a true fence sitter.
Well, that's how I usually am with these things because I see where this anonymous executive is coming from. I do agree.
Right.
He's not a great coach, and he's got a pretty damn good roster, if you ask me, when they're not injured.
They do.
So there's that. But then, I don't think if he had a roster I don't know. I'd say the Chargers are in the top 10 realm of teams. If you gave him a team between 20 and 10, somewhere in that, more of the mid-range part of the league, I don't think
something
they
like
would.
Atlanta's roster.
Sure, give him the Falcons. I don't think Brandon Staley is going to do it's not going to be more harm than good, I don't think, in Atlanta if he was there. So
he's not pushing the envelope, but he's also not a net.
He's not
negative.
a great coach.
He's not gonna
Yeah, he's not a.
I get see, because I don't really know enough about Brandon Staley as a presence. I don't know how much the players like him. I don't know if he's generally speaking a well received in the media kind of he just seems to me he's always kind of
he's meh. He's kind of in the middle.
He screams to me smartest guy in the room. And that works if you're the smartest guy in the room. If you're Kyle Shanahan, you can be the smartest guy in the room because you are the smartest guy in the room.
Correct.
But with Staley, it's look, you blew what, a 28-point lead in the playoffs?
Something like that.
I mean, you can't.
He made a terrible play call the year before that.
Yeah,
against the Raiders.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about. Yeah, that was the Raiders because that was the game where if they would have. Yeah, well, they could have played for the tie,
and they didn't.
And then they lost. Didn't make any sense.
I watched that live, and I was just sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, can we fire Brandon Staley, please?"
But I was baffled just by the fact that it was you had the ball. Like
Mhm.
it was not like
We could've
they
just
they gave the
kneeled and
ball
just
up and then like it was just like over at that point. But to me though, it's like this seems to be a routine thing with this team's defense where they just are unable to in those big moments get the stops. I mean, it happened also a couple of years ago. They're playing the Chiefs in
Yep.
overtime, and
Mhm.
Travis Kelsey
Just
basically walked down as if the defense of the Chargers was
we're
playing
just not there.
tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Like, and
So
this
again,
it just seems to happen a lot. Last year, Thursday Night Football, they're playing they're playing the Chiefs again. They're
Yep.
up in the late half, and they just can't close it out.
Mhm. Now, I don't know how much, again, that falls on Brandon Staley versus
Right.
the
Versus
team
the GM
itself.
putting it together, all that's we don't know what's
Sure.
going on.
So there's like a split there. But even still, with all of that, to make my very long-winded answer short, I agree with the comment, but at the same time, disagree to some effect.
Yeah, I think where he goes wrong is in asserting that Jerry Jones would have fired the
Yeah.
coach. Like for this makes it sound like this guy is just Jerry Jones.
Well,
Like,
maybe it's Jerry
like,
Jones.
it could be anonymous Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, well, Jerry Jones has had Mike McCarthy as the coach for checks notes. Oh yeah, 2 years.
Oh
And
yeah, that's right.
Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy, I think, is probably done a much worse job than Brandon Staley.
Staley has. Yeah.
Like in terms of like, I mean, you want to talk about baffling play calls? Like Staley's play calls, bad as they might be, you can
Mhm.
imagine a realm where they would be successful.
Yes.
With the past 2 playoff losses for the Cowboys,
It's
I mean, you
yeah.
had Dak running it up the middle with like 30 seconds left and no timeouts.
And then
you had the play of all plays with Ezekiel
was
Elliott playing
awesome.
center. What even like I don't want to relive. I mean, I would love to relive that play, but
Oh,
I don't
well,
want to like you know, like go over that whole. But like, what is the mindset? Like, you're gonna try to win the game in your final play. Why are you not just Hail Mary? Just 4 wideouts. Just go. Like,
yeah.
what is the mindset of trying to do this weird trick play? Like, I never understood the trick plays where you just have no O line. Like, what is the
Let's have
goal
Ezekiel
there?
Elliott be a guard, center, and tackle at the same time.
And that was the moment Ezekiel Elliott officially died.
Yep.
And now he's dead.
There it is.
I mean, that was. I
Anyway.
saw that, and it was
Yeah, so that I've never seen Brandon Staley do that, and I hope to God he never
Right.
does because I would love
Right.
him to be fired at that point. But
right. He hasn't done
makes
offensive things. He's done
yes,
things that
very
do not work
questionable-
out,
yes,
and
like
you
going
know-
for it on like 4th and 5 in your own 20.
probably not a good idea.
Analytics, I don't care. Don't go
Yeah.
for it.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like that's
the
the
other
thing
team's gonna get
that
the ball and
bothers me.
score.
It's like the analytics thing is sort of its own monster because you have a lot of these kind of football nerds and people. Well,
They're
like
crunching numbers,
you gotta go.
all
Yeah,
that.
you gotta go. Like it works out like 70%. It's like, well,
What about the
yeah,
other 30%?
but like the thing, even if it does work out that amount of time, because I don't deny that it's probably true, whatever they're citing.
Mhm.
But it's still a cost benefit analysis. It's like
yeah,
you're at your own 20. Yeah, if it's 4th and 1, it's probably a really good shot you could just get it.
yeah,
But, maybe don't go for it unless you're up by like 10 or 20 or 30, like
which we
and
weren't,
the game is over. Like
which we never are.
yeah, like but then at that point it's like you just like if you have the ball, the game is over, right? Like you're there's no
Yeah,
like it should never if you're at that point unless it is final drive, like you need to keep the ball on your side.
correct.
It's not really a
Much
good
of a point.
idea to do that.
I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
so he is a coach who looks like he goes for it on 4th down quite frequently, which I don't have a problem with. Like if it
Yeah.
works, it works. But
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
agree.
There's things that he does that I don't like. There's things that he does that I do like. So
Now the question is then is he on the hot seat this season?
I
Are you putting the burner just on?
It's on a low level.
It's on a low
gonna-
level. So it's
we'll
like
see
it's
how
like he's broiling a little bit. You're keeping the
Yeah.
dish warm.
Yeah, because
But
if it's gonna depend on how the season kind of starts. Maybe we can kind of tell more so
Right.
like midway in the
I don't
season.
even know what their season start. I know they have an early bye,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like who
Yeah.
are you playing opening weekend?
That's I think the Chiefs. Did we play the Chiefs?
No, we play the Chiefs.
Oh no, you guys play the Chiefs. I was thinking
I was like, wait a minute, Chiefs doubleheader.
maybe. Let me see here.
You might actually beat them that time.
Well.
You know, if we beat
no.
the Chiefs, I already know what I'm gonna say if we beat the Chiefs. I'm gonna be like,
First
boy, this
game-
is easy. I don't know why you guys. Are
No,
so
well,
much
yeah.
cool."
First game is the Dolphins. Then we play the Titans
Oh.
after that.
Okay, I mean, Dolphins. That should be a good game. I think.
Yeah.
I could
That'll be
see you
competitive.
winning both. I mean, certainly, I think if you lose to the Titans, you know.
Then Vernon Sterling got to get fired. But
Yeah, I
anyway.
feel like because we know the stats with teams that start 0-2.
Yeah.
So at that point, if you lose to the Titans, you would have had to beat the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Because if you
But-
start 0-2, odds going to the playoffs, pretty low. I think it's something like 4. It's a very low number of teams that
Yes.
over some period of time
That's
that
the
have
story.
started 0-2 that end up making the playoffs.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it should be at a low level, but if the season goes fine, we make the playoffs, maybe don't lose again, then I think it's fine, and I think he'll stay.
Well, I mean,
we'll see.
I've said it before. I want the Chargers to be successful.
Hey, small world.
Like I like the Chargers as a team. I like Justin Herbert. I love that you guys gave him the big bucks because he
Mhm.
deserves it. But the problem is, it seems like every time, like they can't
We
get
have
out of their
nothing
own
to show
way.
for it.
Like it's like,
Yep.
I want them to be successful. I will be rooting for them in every game that they're not playing us, like that they're not playing the Lions.
Yes.
Which I'm
Well, I will be
assuming-
too. So
Yeah.
except
well,
for the
you will-
Lions game,
Yeah, I
will
was gonna
be
say you're gonna be
them
rooting for them in the Lions game. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Lions, some more news out of
Mhm.
that. The Lions are gonna sign one Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year, or I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. I don't even know if they've announced it. It's not a long-term deal or anything, but they're signing a backup quarterback. Now,
Yep.
Seth, I think I want to do a little history lesson here.
Ooh, I like
Because
this.
I want to see if I can find a list of Lions quarterbacks. Lions quarterback.
The only one on the list is Matthew Stafford.
I mean,
That's it.
you know. So let's see. Okay, these are starting. Or can I get backups? Lions backup quarterback history. Okay, I don't know if that's really gonna help. All right, we'll just do the Wikipedia article. So we've had a lot of quarterbacks in Lions history, obviously, but basically through most of my life, we have really not ever had a good backup. Now I'll go through some of the backups that have had. Okay, so this is actually good. So it shows whatever quarterback started. So from there I can tell who was supposed to be the starter and then who was in the back. So 2022, Jared Goff played every game.
Sure.
Excellent. Our backup that year was Nate Sudfeld. So thank God.
Well,
2021, our backup was Tim Boyle. He didn't win, by the way. In 2019, when Matthew Stafford's back died, we had. Oh wow, I forgot about that. We had David Blau and Jeff Driscoll. And then we had Matthew Stafford for a very long time.
Sure.
2010, Matthew Stafford ended up only playing 3 games that year. So we had a couple of guys playing for him. We had Sean Hill.
Ooh.
And Drew Stanton.
Oh.
Might have heard of him. 2009, again, Matthew Stafford. He played 10 games that year, but
very nice.
he couldn't stay healthy the whole season. Dante Culpepper was one of our backups.
I've heard of
also Drew
Culpepper
Stanton
before.
again.
Okay. Yep.
2008, the year from hell. We had this was our quarterback room, and this may shock you. We had Dan Orlovsky. He played 7 games.
Sure.
We had Dante Culpepper, and we had John Kitna. Then John Kitna. We had Jeff Garcia in 2005.
Okay.
And you're not gonna believe this. We actually had in 1998 Frank Reich, the coach. Obviously, in 1998 he was a player.
Well,
he was our backup in 1998. Played a couple of games. And then from there, it's just name the guy. I mean,
yeah. So let me give you my analysis of that. I found a very common theme with those names. I have not heard of like any of them.
Right. That's because most of them, even up to and including David Blau and Tim Boyle, are either
Gone.
out of the
They're dead.
league or basically haven't played since we played with them.
Nice.
I think David Blau played 1 game last year for the Cardinals. And Tim Boyle, I believe, is on the Browns. I think he started in the Hall, or I don't think he started, but I think he played some snaps in the Hall of Fame game.
Interesting.
Tim Boyle also from Green Bay. That was where we got him. But like the thing was, this was like a constant talking point, especially at the beginning before the season started. Was like, what if Jared Goff gets hurt? What if Matthew Stafford? It's like we don't have a backup. We are putting it all on our starting quarterback. And look, this is something that a lot of teams struggle with. This is not a Lions thing that you wouldn't have a backup. It is, however, a Lions thing to not have a backup for basically the entire history of the team. That is pretty much exclusively a Lions thing.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember, but I know the information that, Drew Brees was once a backup for the San Diego Chargers.
Correct.
And, then you just like, there's always, any team, insert team, you might have somebody who either they're washed up or, Dante Culpepper, I guess, is probably the best of that bunch, but Dante Culpepper as a Lion, not Dante Culpepper as a Viking. One reason, no Randy Moss. Turns out that having one of the greatest receivers of all time can
Makes you look
really
pretty good.
bolster. Yeah, right. It's quite the thing. But Teddy Bridgewater, to me, he's got to be one of the best backups, at least currently, right?
Probably.
He's, for one, a veteran of the league.
Yep.
Like, he was, believe it or not, a Pro Bowler at some point.
Really?
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler in 2015 with the Vikings.
Okay.
And that was around when his career decided to just careen into nothingness.
Nice.
Because then he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't run anymore, essentially. He missed an entire year. 2017, he played 1 game. 2018, he played 5 games. 2019, he played 9 games, started in 5. And then 2020, he got the stint in Carolina where it was like, okay, here we go. Teddy Bridgewater. He's finally going to get a starting job. First time since 2015.
And then
he kind of wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He passed for 3,000 yards. He had 15 touchdowns. Problem, he had 11 interceptions. So
that's a slight problem.
Not great.
Yep.
And then you probably are more familiar with him as a Bronco. Played for the Broncos, was their starting quarterback. Again, a pretty decent year. 18 touchdowns, only 7 picks, threw for 3,052 yards. Like a pretty decent
You
year.
can't complain.
Like if he's, you don't want him as your starter, but if he's your backup, it's like if your guy, like if Jared Goff, he gets a cramp and he can't go in. I'm fairly confident that Teddy Bridgewater, especially the way our offense is, where it's basically just dunk and dime. I feel like
I think that's fine.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hand it off to David Montgomery. Toss it over to Jahmyr Gibbs. I feel like he is in a system now with Detroit where he is surrounded by talent offensively. He's got a great O-line, so he's not going to have to worry about taking any damage. And it's not we're not a deep ball team. where, you basically can, like, the offense is built around, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Right.
Like it was when he was in Miami last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think, like, again, ideally he's not playing. Ideally, he's not playing a single game, right?
Ideally,
but like
if he
it's
has
like,
to, it's
yeah, right. I
thing.
mean, like we saw it in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes goes down with an injury, and they got to bring in what's his name?
The old guy.
Oh, geez, what's his name? Oh my gosh. Now I gotta look up Chiefs quarterbacks.
I don't remember it either. He was in the documentary though.
He was. What is his name? Not Alex Smith. He's dead.
He died a long time ago. In game, of course.
2022 Chiefs quarterbacks. Chad Henne.
That's who it was. Chad Henne.
He went to Michigan, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chad Henne. Again, Chad Henne is, washed up. Like he's not Chad Henne of, oh my gosh, his Football Reference picture is not centered.
Nice.
It's like the camera is like, he's like this. He's like, hey guys.
He's like, hey, I'm here.
Hey, you guys want to move the camera? No, okay.
Just take the photo.
Like, I mean, obviously, he's not a good quarterback.
But
Chad Henne, but he's been playing since 2008. Guy's been around the league. He's played for multiple teams. He's a respectable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are, you can crap on him, say he's the worst quarterback ever. Okay, fine. Everybody knows he's not great. But he's a guy who knows a lot about the game, and if you put him in the right system,
he'll do good.
He's not gonna make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't put him in a system where all the pressure is on him, like when he was on the Jets or when he was on any
other team.
He went on the Jets. He was on Miami. I don't know why I thought he was on the Jets. You know what I mean? Like you don't put him in those stressful. And Teddy Bridgewater's the same way. And I'm sure he's well aware. When he was drafted, he was a big time player. Like people thought he was going to be a big deal, but
But I mean, I think it's a good pickup for the Lions for sure. And as long as Jared Goff doesn't get injured, we'll have to worry about it.
Yeah, doesn't get injured, doesn't need to come out. Like the only time I want to see Teddy Bridgewater is in victory formation.
Yep.
And hopefully we can do that on Thursday night on September the 7th.
We'll see.
Man, I'm telling you, if we win that game, I'm going to be so obnoxious. I'm going to be the most obnoxious person maybe ever.
Well, then I'm not going to talk to you on that day if you win then.
Well,
it's as simple
I don't know why you'd be upset. We'd be a team that you don't like.
Well, that's fine. But I'm just not going to talk to you.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
But, Seth, we're about to wrap up the show. But
yes,
we got to do some NFL preseason preview. And we're going to go through. I'm going to send you a link of the schedule. And we're going to go through.
Yep.
We're gonna predict our matchups here.
All right.
And we need some good music that I downloaded before the show and I attached. So let me go ahead and get this in the background. We're not gonna share the screen because there's no point.
Well, of course not.
Because we're just gonna be reading it off. So let me go ahead and hit the music, and we're gonna lower the volume a little bit so we can little football music. Come on. It's football season. Come on. Get out. Here we go. All right. Let's go to the first matchup. So Thursday. That is 2 days from now. Football, NFL preseason is back, Seth. We have the Houston Texans heading over to New England to take on the Patriots. Who have you got in that game, which we do know CJ Stroud will be playing in?
I'm going to take the New England Patriots.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I don't get they bring the income.
That's an interesting point. Any reasons? What do you got for me?
I don't know. There is no reasons. It's the preseason.
No reason. We have no idea. Okay, fair. Here's what I will do because I know how the future works. I'm going to actually go with the Texans.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because I think CJ Stroud is going to look decent. and people are
That's
gonna be
what
like,
you think.
"Look, he's it. I told you, C.J. Stroud is the guy."
And then it's
and
gonna
I think,
not be
and then
that.
the regular season will happen, and he will die, as all Ohio State quarterbacks do in the NFL.
Okay.
So
That's
I'm gonna go with
fine.
the Texans on this one.
'Kay.
Hold on. I need a way of we need to hold on. I'm gonna make a doc. All right, here we go.
I know who I got for the next one too.
Week 1 preseason. Texans at Hats. Seth Hats. Mike Texans. All right. Up next, matchup numero 2, we have
That's a number.
the Vikings
Yep.
taking on the Seahawks. Seth, who have you got?
That is a good question. I'm gonna go with. We're thinking of backups here. That's a good question. Let's just say Vikings. Why not? Don't ask me my reasons.
Who
'cause I
is
don't
the
have one.
backup for the Vikings?
I don't know actually.
There. What about? It's not Geno Smith. Oh, is it Drew Lock?
For
Drew Lock the backup for the Seahawks?
For the Seahawks, I think so. That actually sounds right. Might be
I
Drew.
think
Lock.
it is because he was traded in Russell Wilson trade.
Yeah. Yep.
Then I bet it's gonna be Drew Lock. You know what? I'm gonna go off the assumption that it's Drew Lock. I'm gonna go with the Pats. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks as well.
Okay.
So we'll say Hawks. Mike. All right. So that is our Thursday football action.
Yep.
Friday night, we have the New York, New Jersey football giants, the G-Men, heading to the Detroit Lions.
Correct.
The Grit. Seth, who you got?
I got the Lions in this one.
Great pick. I don't
Like,
even know.
who do you have in this one?
I got the Lions. I mean, come on.
Oh.
I'm not betting against anybody other than the Lions. Come on. I mean,
Well, of course.
look, here's the thing. In case people want to say that this is biased, okay? Jameson Williams is going to be playing. He will be playing, and he will be getting significant time. And I think Jameson Williams is going to make a big impact in that game. I don't know if it's going to be a touchdown. I don't know if it's going to be a deep shot because Nate Suffield is going to be the quarterback, so I wouldn't expect any deep shots. But I expect a big play from Jameson Williams this game.
Okay.
It's going to be in Detroit. The crowd's going to be wild because people in the city are dying for football. And yeah, I think the Lions are going to go in, and I think they're going to win. They dominated them this week in joint practices. I don't know if you heard about that. They basically made the Giants look like fools.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if that'll translate, but
We'll see.
I got to put you and me on the Lions. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers heading over to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. What are you thinking?
I am going to take maybe a surprise pick. Maybe not. I don't know. We're going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh. See, I think I'm gonna agree. I know we've been agreeing a lot, so we're gonna have to at some point.
Oh, we'll disagree at
somewhere.
some point, I'm sure.
At some point. But my only reason for taking the Steelers is because their backup is Mitch Trubisky, and the Bucks' backup is like Kyle Trask, and so like I really have no reason to believe that the Bucks are going to be anything other than just kind of a boring team this year. Like, I don't anticipate their offense being very good. I don't anticipate their defense being nearly as good as it once was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Steelers on the road, getting the win. I think that would be the first, well, I guess depending on if one of us is right, it would be the first road win. So, up next, we have that team in Green Bay heading to Cincinnati, taking on the Bengals.
I'm going to take the Bengals of Cincinnati in that game.
Yeah, I'll never bet on the Packers. Of course, it's the Bengals.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
again, I don't really know who's starting. because I don't know what their backup is.
No one does.
But surely their backup is better than whoever. I mean, I don't. A lot of these, I don't know if like Jordan Love. I don't know if he's gonna get any starting
he'll
time.
play.
He might. I mean,
He could.
like, they might give him some love. No pun intended.
That's very
but
clever right there.
that was totally unintentional. I don't know if you
Yeah,
believe that, but it was.
We'll see. Yeah.
So at the Bengals, Seth taking the Bengals. And I am taking the
Bungles.
The Bungles. All right. Up next, we have the Atlanta Falcons heading
Sure.
over to Miami, taking on the Dolphins.
I think I'm going to take that team in Miami.
I disagree.
Mm.
I'm going to take the Falcons.
Okay.
I imagine we probably see Bijan, right?
Mm.
And I think
Maybe.
probably is going to be very fast.
He
and I
does
like
do that, yeah.
I don't know who their quarterback is. I'm assuming Desmond Ridder is not going to be playing. I don't actually know. I mean, again, he could.
Well, that's the thing with Bijan. Is he going to be starting over, what's his face?
I don't remember, but they had a really good
Gallagher?
running game. I'm not sure.
Is he still there?
Gallagher?
Yeah, hold on. That's how you spell Atlanta. But anyway, I'm still going to go with the Dolphins. I can't, go back on my pick here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons. I mean, I think Bijan is going to be a factor if he plays. I guess if he doesn't, I just look like a fool.
Yeah, Tyler Algier maybe. But it
but
could either be them or him or Bijan Robinson.
Which
we don't
either,
know.
I mean, it's like if that's the running back room, then I mean, I'm presuming that the rookie would play, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
Anyway,
is in going with the Dolphins, going with the home team.
Yes.
I'm going with the Falcons.
correct.
So up next, we have the battle
Yes.
of the unlikable teams. The Commanders taking on the Browns in Cleveland. Browns obviously coming off of their win in the Hall of Fame game, so they're not coming in at full strength, technically. If you
Well,
want to call it that.
let's.
They're more warmed up though, so you know.
I was gonna say, let's go with the Browns in this one. I'll take the Browns.
I'm gonna have to disagree again. I'm gonna
That's-
go with the
that's
the
fine.
Commanders because I would venture to guess we might see Sam Howell. And before he had the bad year, like his final year at UNC, he was projected to be like a number 1 overall pick, or like a top 5 pick at least. So
Yeah.
again, I don't have the information in front of me if these players are going to start.
Well, see, that's the
but-
thing. All of these picks that I'm making are mostly based off of just I don't really care. Let's just go with this team. It's preseason.
That's fair.
And when we get to the regular season, that'll be different. But
Right.
well,
Right.
it probably won't be because
I mean, I would imagine we'd have a lot more information on what teams are
hopefully,
what.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I think they're not gonna be good, but I also don't think the Browns are gonna be good. And
Yeah.
I looked at, I mean, the game they
Yeah.
played, they kind of got bailed out by the Jets just being bad. So, like, I mean, not that the Commanders are exactly the most inspiring football team to be in existence, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I'm gonna deviate.
Okay.
Up next, 10 p.m. on NFL Network. Why?
What a
anyone would
game
want to
and
do
what
that?
a time.
Yeah. Denver Broncos, the Denver Donkeys,
Yes.
heading to Arizona to take on the Arizona Fighting Kyler Murrays. I hate this game.
Yeah,
This is
I'm going to
this
go
is
with the
like the
Denver
wor-
Donkeys.
This
in
is the
one.
worst matchup ever.
Yeah. And the Denver Donkeys are going to win. You agree.
I genuinely
Next
don't know.
one.
See, my thing is like,
I really don't know either, but let's just go
well,
with
like the
Donkeys.
Broncos keep dying. Like there's a bunch of Broncos players that keep getting hurt out of camp. So
Yeah.
that adds to like the layers of uncertainty I have.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals, however, are also devoid of
dead.
talent.
Yeah.
And they have a new coach who we don't know if he's any good. As opposed to the Broncos, who have at least Sean Payton. Yeah, I guess I'll go with the Broncos.
Good choice.
I don't really.
To the
I
donkey
really don't trust the. I
don't
don't
either.
trust the Broncos, but I really don't trust the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with the Broncos. All right. Up next, Saturday football. Here we go. Tennessee Titans heading to Chicago, taking on the Bears.
Let's go with.
We'll probably see either Malik Willis or Will Levis this game, or both.
Or both.
I don't even know who the Bears' backup is.
I don't know either. Let's go with the Titans of Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the Bears. I can't choose the Bears. I'm going with the Titans.
Yep.
So. I will make this a little bit more streamlined next time. I was not prepared.
It's alright.
I fully admit. This is actually going to be the nationally broadcasted game, apparently.
Yep.
The Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo take on the Bills.
We're going to go with those Buffaloes up in Buffalo. We're going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd like to think their backups are better than the Colts backups.
Yeah,
I'd like to think that.
Yeah, I mean, Colts are rebuilding, you know. Anthony Richardson probably gets some starts, but maybe not all.
Yeah.
I agree. Colts, Bills. Yeah, I'll go with the Bills. Up next, we have the New York, New Jersey, Jets, heading to Carolina, take on the Panthers, who will be starting Bryce Young.
I thought he was their QB1.
Well, that's what I said. He's going to start.
In this game? Or in the regular season?
Yeah, he's going to start this game.
Oh. Then Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jets. They really did not look inspiring in the Hall of Fame game. So
Panthers it is.
I'll go with the Panthers as well.
Because the Jets, if this was regular season, I'd take the Jets. But
it's going to be a similar deal for me as to taking the Texans. It's going to be Bryce Young having probably a good game and people being like, "Oh my gosh, it's the greatest quarterback ever," and he's my height. So yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with the Panthers over the Jets.
Yes.
Up next, we have the other national broadcast game. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Dallas to play the Cowgirls. Hold on, I've just been informed they're actually no longer the Cowgirls. They're in fact the Cowboys.
Interesting.
That was a mistake.
This is news to me.
I didn't know.
Let's go with that team in Texas. Let's go with the Cowboys.
You
This
know,
one's a toss-up, but let's go with the Cowboys.
Nothing brings me greater joy than watching the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree there, but I'd like to think the Cowboys have a better roster than Jacksonville, but I could be wrong.
You know,
I don't know.
You might be right. You might be making evidence claims to yourself.
But
on the other hand, I'm going with the Jaguars.
Okay.
That's
a fine
don't
argument.
care about your facts. I care about my feelings. And my feelings tell me if I chose the Cowboys, I'd rather die.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
Up next, we have
the Birds.
The Battle of the Birds. The Philadelphia Eagles heading to Baltimore, taking on the Ravens.
Let's go with the Eagles. That's my pick.
That is
for
an
this
interesting
game.
pick because,
yes, it is.
As we know, as all football fans know, the Ravens have like a absurd winning streak in preseason. They've won like 9 straight or something like that.
And
so you think it'll end?
I'm gonna bet that the Eagles will end it.
I am gonna bet that the streak stays alive.
All right.
The Birds of Baltimore, the Ravens, they're gonna stick around and they're gonna win that game. I don't know how. I don't even know who their backup is. I don't know what's going on with the Ravens.
We'll see.
Up next, a battle that's close to home, Seth. It's the battle for Los Angeles.
Don't even have to ask me who I'm going for.
The Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego
Yep.
heading to Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis.
Yes. And we're gonna go with the I'm just kidding. We're going with the Chargers of San Diego. Formerly.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. I'm assuming their backups are probably better than the Rams because the Rams don't have backups. I don't think they believe in them actually.
I don't think so. No.
I'm not sure if they do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. And I'm gonna lock that in.
It's gonna pain me to say who I want or who I think's gonna win this next game. But...
Sunday afternoon, the first Sunday with football after the Super Bowl, we have the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New Orleans Saints. Is that who you got?
And I got the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's my thing: is Chad Henne better than whoever the
Saints have
Saints
behind Derek Carr?
I don't know, but even if he isn't, they probably have a better running back or something. I don't know. They probably got something.
Better roster.
I agree. I'm going with the Chiefs. It's the Saints. Like, I can't in my right mind bet against Andy Reid who is even the head coach of the Saints?
I don't know. I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
There you go. That's all I needed to know.
Okay.
And then finally,
the
final game of this week, the San Francisco 49ers heading to Las Vegas to play the Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders.
We're going to go with the 49ers in this one, Mike. That is my pick.
I would agree. I mean, you're playing against Kyle Shanahan. You're probably going to lose. I don't care who you have on that team. I mean, the thing about them is that it's really interesting who's going to play that game because, we got Brock Purdy, you still have Trey Lance, and you got Sam Darnold. And I'll take any of those over whoever the backup is for the Raiders. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I will go with the Niners as well. So, just to round it out, I will go over the picks and who we each took. So, first game, Texans Saints. Texans Pats. Seth took Pats. I took Texans. Vikings Seahawks. We both took the Hawks. Lions Giants. Both took the Lions. Bucks Steelers. Seth took the Steelers. I took the Bucks. Packers Bengals. We both took the Bengals. Falcons Dolphins. I'm reading too quickly. Seth took the Dolphins. I took the Falcons. Commanders Browns. Seth takes the Browns. I take the Commanders. Broncos Cardinals. We both take the Broncos. Titans Bears. We both take the Titans. Colts Bills. We both take the Bills. Jets Panthers. Both take the Panthers. Jags Cowboys. Seth takes the Cowboys. I take the Jags. Eagles Ravens. Seth takes the Eagles. I take the Ravens. Chargers Rams. Seth takes the Chargers, and I also take the Chargers. Chiefs Saints. Both take the Chiefs, and to round it out, the Niners, Raiders, we both take the Niners.
Indeed.
And that was our preseason week 1 predictions.
Indeed.
We will revisit this next week. We'll see who got more answers right, who won, and by the end of the preseason, we will crown a winner, I suppose.
Of the
and then
preseason
we'll start it all over when the regular season starts.
Of course.
That's when real football begins.
Yeah.
So. What's that? That is where we got to wrap it up. That is the end.
That's the end. That's all we got.
We got football this week, Seth. And I will also, I plan, unless things change, I plan on doing a live play-by-play and reaction and analysis of the Lions' Week 1 preseason game against the Giants.
Very interesting.
So, should be a interesting game. Teddy Bridgewater will not be playing. That's already been confirmed. So it'll be Nate Sudfeld. But Jameson Williams will be playing. And presumably some of our other rookies. And I think Jameson Williams is going to be the story, hopefully, next week.
Hopefully.
So,
that's the goal.
And hopefully it's for his play and not his bad. That'll be it. We'll be back next week. We'll have some actual preseason football to talk about. And hopefully the Padres will be above 500.
Let's not get too hopeful.
That's, we don't want to go that extreme.
Let's not go, quite extreme indeed.
That's fair. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this show. We'll be back again next week, like I said.
Yep.
And let's root for the Lions. Come on, let's get the
Yeah.
Lions fights on. Come on.
Go Detroit. Yeah.
Football's back, baby.
Forward down the field, a Argentine that will not yield, and win the blue and silver wave. Stand and to the brave, rock, rock, rock. Go hard with the game. With honor you will keep your faith. Down the field and game, Alliance victory. Go Lions!
Wow.
See you guys next week.
Yep. Take it easy.
Have a good
people.
one. Goodbye.